That's because it's the green light.
Good.
Okay, good evening, everybody. This is May 1st, 2025, 6:30. We're at 6:35. We're going to call the meeting to order. Land acknowledgement and anti-racist statements are in front of you. Land acknowledgement and anti-racist statement. Roll call. We've got Rick here.
Martin's here.
Oh, Roland's here. Yeah, here. That's good. We got Chad here.
Oh, yeah, we're okay.
Yeah, Elizabeth here.
Hey, these are
Mitch here.
Suing.
And Vice Chair Plan.
Okay.
Okay, we're in good shape. So first, good to see you.
Nice to have
We're
one.
fine. We're gonna need some, everybody to vote yes or no to adopt the agenda that we have in front of you. That looks okay. If we need to add anything, we can do that.
You're gonna room there.
We adopted agenda.
Second,
All in favor? So, and then while we're at it, why don't we see if we can adopt the minutes from April 3rd? It's in front of you also. Might take you a half a minute to read that or more.
You put this all together, Rick?
We're gonna put this together. Here.
So it's really, I don't want him to fight because he doesn't.
Rick's always working. He's always working. Rick's amazing.
Move to adopt minutes.
Need a second. Got a second, Rick? All in favor of adopting the April 3rd minutes? Guys are easy to get along with. Thank you. We have some announcements tonight. Anybody can add to it, but this is what I do know. I had some texting going back and forth with Gary Bara, and he is in Seattle right now preparing for an operation tomorrow in Seattle. So we should, he had an excused absence. I'm sure you get that, Rick. And prayers should be with him. He's gonna have a long recovery. I've asked him if he's needed in assistance of meals and transportation and all that good stuff, and he says his wife is so organized that she reordered everything and they're all good to go, but
Louise an engineer, leave it to her.
he says she's amazing.
if they just wouldn't talk while they did all that work. My sister's an engineer. It's like, I don't want to know every little detail.
Okay. So that's where Gary's at, but he's with us and he's been following and he's very excited. Good stuff. Adam Tullis, I just had a conversation with him about an hour ago. And he was planning to come tonight and give us some news of some big changes in his life. And his wife, they have purchased a condo in downtown Bellingham. And they were gonna put their house up for sale like in a couple of weeks, and somebody told somebody and somebody told somebody else, and they're like signing papers to sell their house right now. And so he's not able to come here, but he wished he enjoyed the time with the new committee. Things are starting to happen. He's for it. He didn't feel that he could stay on since he's moving out of Sun Valley. Understandable. So we do have a position available with Adams relocating. Which I know. Yeah. And I want to just give you a little recap, and Rick can fill in too, of the last board meeting that we did have. A lot of the stuff that happens in long range planning. And it happened previous, eventually shows up the board and then stuff actually gets voted on and then actually stuff gets done. These are some couple items that we didn't really plan on, but they just happened. We had that cyclone that came through. Nobody could have ever predicted that or figured that out, that that was gonna happen, and so much damage that happened. And it's really awesome that there was a way to take care of the cost of removing the trees professionally, and a lot of volunteer stuff that did come in. And there is no assessment to take care of any of those damages to our valley.
That's actually a big deal because that was quite a bit of damage. And for Sun Valley to be able to take care of that, right?
Yeah, Rick probably knows the dollar amount.
Yeah, no, so at first we had no idea what the cost was gonna be to clean all of that up, and Joanne, our former general manager, was taking a high estimate of $500,000.
Ooh.
It ended up only being a little over 300 only, but at that rate, it still would have been about a $15 assessment to cover.
Right.
To cover that cost. So the fact that we're looking at some other capital improvements, the fact we don't have to defer some of that assessment towards tree. We clean up and mitigation, it is a real plus going forward. And hopefully we don't have another bomb cyclone in the near
Yes,
future.
yeah, hopefully it's once every
Or
200 years.
or what.
Yeah.
Well, I
It's
remember,
like 100-year storm that occurs every 3 years. Yeah.
does anybody know how many houses were actually hit with trees?
I did.
I heard 20.
Okay, because not too long after I moved here, we had the same sort of thing. And 41 houses were hit that time.
Wow.
Oh, so this is listen.
Yeah.
There's
mhm.
fewer trees.
There we go. Got rid of the bad ones.
We also had like Team Rubicon come in, like that volunteer group.
Yes.
And they came in twice, I think.
They came in once.
Once.
Yeah.
And they spent 3 days, there was like 12 of them or 10, 12, and
Yeah.
Sun Valley put up food and everything like that, and they were able to get quite a bit accomplished, I think.
Yeah.
It was like,
Didn't cost us.
They helped
Above
a lot of the folks that didn't.
that was almost kind of like our limits of where we could help, right? Yeah, that's great.
Yes,
What an amazing group. They just volunteer all their time in their whole weekend.
amazing people. There's some amazing people out there. Want to get back. So along with that, also, there was some stuff that was we have 2 bridges that we're gonna replace. They're good sized bridges. One's 28 by 40 feet. It's gonna be steel bridge. And the other one's 14 foot by 70 feet, also steel. I know the location, and one is over by Z Gate, I think.
There is a,
Yeah, there is a-
maintenance yard.
And you know where the one that's
It's Polo Park Road.
park.
Yeah,
Okay.
there, okay.
So these have been some
Is
dangerous.
that the one near gate 13?
No, is it 13? Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
Oh, that,
That was,
wow, I'm excited. That's my bridge.
yeah.
That's been sort of, no, it's the one that's been sinking a little bit every
Right,
year.
that's the one.
Mhm,
Culvert is collapsing.
Yeah,
mhm, yeah, cool.
so that's good stuff. I mean, things are happening.
Yeah, I've been a little concerned about that
But
one.
actually, we're replacing it with steel, which steel should last
Yeah.
150 years, right? So hopefully good stay. It should. Yeah, it should. Hey, we're glad you're here, observer. She's sitting in with us tonight to see if she might be interested in this committee, and really convenient time since I was moving away, well, not the spot. Like this, please.
Aha.
Okay. All right, so that's that, and then let's move to item number 8. This was the subcommittee was Mitch, Dan, and myself, and Elizabeth. And this is the part where we're trying to figure out what to go in barn 6. And we came up with try to get as much that we have in barn 8, try to get it in barn 6. And we to do that, we need to find out some costs so we could tell the community what this would be.
So we're not trying to eliminate barn 8.
No,
No, so temporarily moving the gym maybe into 6, so the thought was build up 6 and move in temporarily so we can prepare Tommy.
right, that's right, that's it.
Yeah, a good portion of the cost, several $1 million of the cost is associated with the second floor in Farney. And so we're looking at putting a second floor, a new dance barn, barn 6. And maybe get rid of the second floor of barn 8 to reduce the cost. Is that correct?
Mhm.
It's all
Does
possibility.
Barnes, sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to ask a
I'll
question.
let you ask one question. This is it.
Okay. Does Barnes 6 already have a second floor?
It's the height of the second floor.
Right,
Yes.
okay, but it doesn't exist anywhere in there, I know. It was
Actually, there is a mezzanine, second floor mezzanine in barn 6,
Yep, there is.
a gallery.
Gotcha.
Isn't it a hay loft?
No, that was where the people sat up there and watched hockey.
Gotcha.
Oh, I didn't know they had real stuff in there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now it's mostly bird food,
It's a
mice.
I was just thinking more of roof height.
It's,
Yeah.
we measured that. Yeah, what was it? Yeah, it's 48 feet.
At peak.
At peak. And the barn is 52.
Right,
So the max is 52, whatever that height is.
Now we can get to the important.
Really? Okay, so
I can't wait to hear what the important part is.
it is.
In your attitude, we kept telling everyone there had to be a senior center in that building.
I've been talking about it for years and I got into your brains.
In your absence.
Yes, I'm already planning the furniture we'll need for it. And it's volunteers,
Yeah,
it's
so,
gonna be great.
so before that, I mean, we had one meeting, Mitch and I with Carletti Architects to, this is kind of what we need. Can you put it together on paper and some kind of concept? And then, really, what's really important also is what will the cost be in 2026? Because nothing's gonna happen this year, but we'd like some real costs. And since we're in the watershed, no construction can happen until May 1st next year of 2026. So, architect, please give us some real costs.
Mhm.
So when we can find out what the real costs are to bring to the people for 2026. So that's what we have. The board signed a contract to find out those costs. And also get like a concept design of what this would kind of look like. It's not detailed, it's been hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is renderings. This is
I don't,
a small fee to get real good information. It's like $19,000. So they're working on that.
He said for that much money, he'd give us a caricature picture of, Ray, but that was about all.
So that happened. So that's really in the positive direction. They're trying to get some good numbers for us and something that we can present when needed by the end of June, but we lost some time frame. So the new date is by July 10th that we should have something, but it could be the end of June.
So we're gonna get a rendering and they're also looking at all the costs.
Yes.
As well, so we're gonna have a lot of good information.
And we're also getting some variances on the mezzanine and the top.
Right. Yeah, options,
So forth. Yeah,
some
And
options.
line location is taking place too. I talked to Mike Bennett today. Mike said he planning on bringing in line locators to scan underground.
Yeah, next week.
Where the utilities are.
Because we have power there.
Got a lot of things. I mean, we even have a drain, but the question is, the drain might be 3 or 4 inches. I mean,
Right.
You might need a 10-inch, just because you've got one. Well, that's important, but.
I think all that is free, isn't it?
No,
Yeah,
no,
so-
no.
Wherever this giant.
Maybe in Canada, it's free, but. No,
I don't think that's,
indicate the lines.
when we
And in the
built the
building.
building,
Yeah,
and we had to figure out where everything was, they were able to come out and here's where this is, here's this, and that was all free. So I don't.
Was that an open space?
so the way that works,
Okay.
if you get a permit,
Right.
it's part of the permit, they will.
I see, once you get a permit, then it's fit.
We get paid $3,000. We don't, at this moment, we're not getting a building permit. All we're doing is doing assessing, but we're helping the architect feed his people with good information.
So we can plan.
So he can plan with good numbers.
Right.
So he's on electrical on
Right.
from barn 7, or maybe there's already one in barn 6.
Right.
There's a power box in power.
Good.
There's power. There's power.
They had an office in there for security for years.
Yeah, so we're gonna locate all that stuff to try to keep the cost down.
Good. That's money well spent.
That's it. Yeah, I think it's.
Did you all talk about, or did anybody talk about doing solar on that building?
We have no.
We're so not close to that point.
Yeah, it's done.
Okay, but should the architect have that in, ask him about the possibility?
Conceptual plan of how much would this cost conceptually, and would it look like this? And would the county allow something like this to occur? And, you're at 20% of a design estimate.
Mm-hmm,
Now, if it goes forward, now you dive in and flesh out scope.
okay, yeah,
Look
because,
for credits, look for everything.
yeah,
So didn't we also ask the architect to really give us kind of the best design in terms of best bang for our buck as well, right, in terms of orienting things?
Absolutely, yeah. He seemed like he was all about that. He understanding his community, you gotta get lots of people happy.
And another big question mark that was in the air up until about 3 weeks ago was, I believe it was the county was moving the buffer zone from 150 to 200 feet, and that actually has happened.
Yeah, it's 200.
We are grandfathered in, so we can use that footprint.
Yeah,
That's
same
kind of a question mark for a bit, but, so we're fortunate in that way. That we,
Yeah, we have to file for the exemption is what it is, but it's just paperwork. But as long as we use the exact footprint that we have for 6 right now. Good,
exactly.
which is 100 feet by 130.
Yeah.
That can be a lot with 13,000 square feet.
Yeah, right, which is huge.
Some people have been known to live in space that small.
What's the dimension of it?
100 by 130. 13,000 square feet.
About the size of your house.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, when it's feeling healthy.
So that's good news. All this has been good news so far, but at the same time, we're talking about spending some money here. So I thought it was also be a good thing if we revisited that first list that we put together, the first couple meetings that we came together and looked at it again. Yes,
Well, we got this one down, what are we gonna take on next?
yeah, that's what I want you to look at. I want you to look at 2 or 3 items that bring in, generate revenue for long term. If we can dial in on something that makes revenue and some stuff we do some research on.
I'm sorry, sir.
And then maybe we can make a couple subcommittees and see if we can research and get some field, get some answers, and like next meeting, we get them together and say, hey, this could be a possibility. It might not be a dream, but we could actually make some money to cover some costs. So if there's anything we're missing on here or want to add of new things that we could add to this list that we could generate some funds, I think it would be a good time to be thinking about that while we're waiting for information from Carletta. This would be something we could focus on for this month.
So uses of barn 6 is that what you're asking?
No.
Oh,
For all the valley.
All the valley. Oh, so
Good, yeah.
We're all barn 6. We're all barn 6. We're figuring out how we're
past barn 6.
Yeah, we'll include
barn 6.
Okay.
West Rental, right?
Right.
We got that option,
But barn 6 is in the works. So, all right, so let's assume that we're in a couple of meetings from now, we're gonna get information back, we're gonna be working the barn 6 issue. What else can long range planning start focusing on that would be really good in the 18 to 24 month plan that would reduce dues or add revenue, offset costs.
There's room enough there at the front of the campground where the old building is to put in a little drive-through coffee thing. And the number of cars that go past that spot from, Glen Haven going into, and the people going to drop their kids off and pick them up at school, and it would be such a great spot. Now, that was looked at years ago. I'm not having an original idea here. At that time, they had somebody who wanted to put a place that would actually roast the coffee, and that's why that plan got dumped. But just to have like a Starbucks type of place,
Like go and sit down type?
well,
Drive-
probably not drive-through, cruising coffee, more like that, I think. Yeah, and I don't know if that building is any good at all. I was in it years ago.
And shut down, utilities and shut off at one time.
Yeah,
Which building?
the little block building that has the ferns all on the roof, the moss and stuff. And it wouldn't interfere with, it's got,
Frisbee golf.
yeah, it wouldn't interfere with that though.
Yeah.
Except we might have to organize the parking a little
Yeah.
bit better, but.
Sun Valley Parks on that park they're using.
Yeah,
And then the members, they go up the gate.
mhm,
They have a pass where they pay the fee and then they get
Yeah.
a combination and they can go.
Actually, we as Southern Valley owners have access to that code as well.
We do.
Where is this?
campground.
Yeah, campground, but,
Lake Louise,
okay.
right outside of gate 13, about 250 yards down the road.
Yeah,
So somebody driving down Lake Waterman Boulevard
No,
would,
No.
mm-mm.
I'm talking about the coffee
Like
place that you're talking about.
Lake
You're talking about
Louise,
a coffee place.
Yeah.
Lake Louise.
Right?
So they're, say, everybody in Glen Haven who goes into Bellingham, maybe twice a day if they're doing kids. They would go past it. Everybody who comes in and out and goes Lake Louise into town from Sun Valley would be going that way.
Security building was a better drive-through location.
I agree.
But it's off the main drag. Lake Louise is
But it's got
actually the main,
Right,
So
yeah,
it's
but
got a separate lane, it's got a turnaround,
right.
and we can easily move security into a lot of other places.
yeah, but you want numbers. And you've got more people going past the campground,
Listen, I'm
yeah.
No, we're open. I mean, you need to investigate this stuff. That's. we got two
We
locations.
should do a count.
The campground's right on the road.
Mhm.
There it is, right. So I guess we.
can't miss it.
Yeah, the office was right on the road and there's enough room.
Maybe something that you're suggesting that they come to the solicit to companies and they would come in and they do all the modifications.
And we would make a percentage of their profit.
Yes.
Now,
There you go. This is the Lake Louise.
Output from them.
That's like Louise Road, yeah.
So what's the volume on Lake Louise Road versus Sun Valley Boulevard or Lake Waterman Boulevard?
I'm betting it's double.
Oh, you think it's,
Well, gate 3, there's more people in gate 3 than there is in any other gate.
Yeah, but a lot of people use gate 9 and 13 to get out.
Mhm.
right? It's obviously something shorter we need to consider.
Everybody in gate 5, gate 9, and gate 13 comes and goes that way. All of Glen Haven comes and goes that way. And, people who have school kids in, what's that place called? No, the school,
Waldorf.
Waldorf.
School.
Yeah, the Waldorf school, they're all going that way to pick up and drop off their kids.
So gate 1 and 2 would definitely not exit that way. probably,
Right,
Right,
probably not,
so,
except some people will go any number, I mean, it's like, where else are they gonna go for coffee?
so the idea of having a coffee shop somewhere is a good idea. Where we should look at the numbers.
Right.
And decide where the highest traffic count
Yep.
is, so we don't have to get into that
Yeah.
discussion. But having a coffee shop is a great idea somewhere, but where it should be located. Right, I mean, if they don't make money, they ain't stand,
right,
Yeah.
right? So, I know when I got my hair cut over here, she expressed interest as well, as having a coffee shop, right? So at the end of the day, it's all about making money or they're gonna be gone,
mhm.
Yeah,
right? So we have to pick the absolutely best location for success, right? We choose the best location for success. Coffee is highly profitable.
yeah.
Right?
That doesn't look right.
But you have to pick the highest traffic, on it. But it's just an idea, so having a coffee shop somewhere, I think is a great idea.
So
Okay, here's
I'm thinking
Western.
like the old administrative office next to Obama.
Yeah, it's towards town, that there, right there.
Look, that's gonna be Meador Road, that's gonna be Lake Louise.
A coffee shop,
Right.
not
Or is it-
on the road. But say a coffee shop and an ice cream shop combination,
Hell, I don't know.
you can kill it.
That, that
Yeah, because
might be
people
it.
wanna gather. and
This
sit.
may be,
They've got,
Like a utility building.
you know, you've got lots of moms and strollers,
But-
they got no place to go in Sudden Valley. But if they had a coffee shop in the old administrative office, and we had some areas for them to sit down, grab some other areas. For Magami,
Like, I'm sure you could stop, I mean,
it's an option.
I'm sure you could stop at Shell Station, that place, and grab a coffee.
You could,
but could you get a
you can't really sit down.
bronze latte,
Yes.
soy with lavender syrup and 2
Yes.
shots? You know, that's the thing.
And I would want to, but.
We need a woods.
My daughter spends $8 a day on that.
Yeah,
No, I know.
Yeah, so I think we could make money on that, and that is a good location. The trouble with Lake Whatcom Boulevard is that's mostly Sun Valley people. The Lake Louise, people get off at Alger,
Yeah.
going into Bellingham, they go past that. People live in Glen Haven, they go past
I
that
think we just have to
location.
get a big.
Yeah. mhm, get-
so right now, we
Count the numbers.
got anything else on here that we could work on? We could get 2 or 3 of them. Be good.
I like the idea of a solar power plant at the airport. And letting a third party contractor install a megawatt power plant. The county was really jazzed, they wanted it,
Is there enough sun?
Mm-hmm.
there is.
Okay.
I like that. I like
And we'd
that.
be able to mount them up high, could park boats underneath it. So we'd be able to increase our boat storage
Or RVs too.
or RV.
That's
Given
huge.
the way some people back up though, I'm only people who could back up a trailer.
No, that's working, that would be outside contractor money, they'd come in, develop and do everything.
That's
We
correct.
own it, and,
We get a piece of the
Mhm.
profit.
yeah, so that's what I'm talking about, profit for us. We'll
Um,
spend money, but get money.
A really minor little thing would be to put some vending machines in here. Outside, maybe at the door, that sold drinks and stuff for when the pool's open.
Right here,
Uh-huh,
well, you're in the business,
I was, yeah,
you know
I know part of it. Well, my husband was the one that ran most of it,
it,
but yeah.
you know some stuff.
Yeah, so, and I don't know that would make that much money. We'd have to get with somebody who would be willing to place his machines, and give us a percentage for the location.
So I was talking with Kyle, who's the new rec manager.
Mhm.
About Barn 8 and maybe doing some reconfiguring within this footprint, so to speak. And he came up with several ideas, one of which was to move the office into where that little cafe space is and sell Powerade and snack bars and stuff. You wouldn't have a business to come in there. It would be more of a service probably than a profit center, but
Yeah, they had somebody in there running that for a
Yeah.
long time, and I don't think he ever made any
but
money.
that was a separate.
'Cause he did it
business.
better.
That's what I'm saying, is you could operate this.
Mhm.
I don't know, somebody mentioned that there's some idle time with the staff there.
The thing about the machines is there's less of a question about accounting for the materials.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's right.
No, that's a good idea. I like
And
it.
you have to have people who are licensed to deal with food. They have to have food handlers licenses.
You're selling packaged goods, I know that you, I know. Hit the bar.
I think, I don't know, that would depend on the state.
I mean, if you're slicing a piece of cake or something, yes.
You can't have anything open. Yeah.
Yeah,
Personally, when it comes to vending machines, I don't think there's anything in a vending machine that extends your life. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that you sell in a vending machine that is healthy and that is good for you.
other than water. Oh, water in plastic bottles, man.
Well, how about juice?
About an apple.
I'm just saying, when you look at the total picture of what's in a vending machine,
Well, you know, it depends on where the vending machines are and what they put in them. You can put anything in it.
right, but as a general rule, pop, all the kids stuff and everything like that,
Mhm.
right? That's not good for you, right? That's stuff that.
Do you want to?
So you have to, so what I'm saying is,
Mhm,
profit is an issue, but health is an issue too,
mhm.
right? I mean, like, we wanna do what's right. Right? You know what I mean? You want to.
So then we have control over what's
If you
put in.
control what's in the vending machine, then you say, hey, we're only gonna sell, you know, these health bars or whatever, we're not gonna sell, what do you call that?
Chips?
Chips, no, I'm not, you know, with the, what's the,
Those corn.
Monster drinks.
monster, that's right. You know, that stuff is just
Oh, yeah,
absolutely terrible for you, right? So.
you don't put anything in that the kids are gonna get their hands on.
So I'm saying there's some responsibility there as well. It's not
Mhm.
just, we just don't want to just look at profit, we want to look at what it
Yeah.
does to your body.
Good thinking, that's good, Ken.
I just saw a lot of people running that when they had people running it. And it took up a lot of time. And it took more than one or two people to keep it going. Now, they were doing a little extra. They were actually doing soup and muffins, but
It's never,
never,
it doesn't have the foot traffic.
no.
They have another coffee shop with a vending machine.
Both, two different coffee shops have been in there, three different coffee
Yeah.
shops in my time.
Right.
And none of them were successful.
Yeah.
One was run by Southern Valley, that was a loss
Right,
every month.
right.
Right? And then the other two, they just couldn't turn a profit. Right.
And the nice thing about vending machines is you don't have to put the money up front for the machines. Your vendor would do that. Depending on how much the traffic is, he swings by once or twice a week, gets the money, restocks it.
Yeah,
So,
we need a subcommittee to check that
Yeah,
out, get all the details and facts and come back.
But
This is this-
that's not gonna make the kind of money that, a power plant would
Well,
make.
I think they're both worthwhile to look into.
Mhm.
Is there anything else? We need like three.
How about parking at the marina for non-Southern Valley?
I was just gonna say that won't generate probably a net, but it will generate a lot of goodwill, I think, from
From the members.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's like,
Pay for parking.
that's number B.
Control the amount of non-residents coming into use the marina.
I like that idea.
And
that's good.
Yeah.
Nobody has any trouble parking in the marina in the summertime. That's like.
Whenever you have one of those places where you park, where it's like, when you park here, you have to pay, everybody pays. Everybody comes in there, goes to the machine, pays,
Yeah.
and leaves, like 90% of the people do that, right?
Yeah.
If you had something like that, and you say, look, we're gonna fine you if you don't pay, if people just.
Well, I'm talking about
Yeah.
charging non-residents.
Non-residents, if you're a resident, you have a little sticker on your windshield, and you're good to go, you're good to go.
Or you hang your handicap sticker up and you don't have to pay anything.
I like it.
Okay, one thing you and I,
Yeah, that's something that we can do fairly fast too, and we can make some revenue. And we can tighten up the non-residents.
It's all a credit card, right? It's like, here, stick this in your machine, you put the machine there,
Yeah.
And you just put your credit card in, it's like $25 a day to park there.
We would
So
get a lot of,
Go ahead, go ahead.
we would get blowback from the people who were running those vacation rentals, short-term rentals.
Tough.
So big deal.
Well, there's a.
They're a block,
Yeah,
they're a voting block.
yeah, there were a committee working on the small business. Small short-term lease right now,
Mhm.
and term, they're gonna come up with some new rules.
Yeah,
So this is a good time to figure this part out.
Yeah.
So that's another,
Well, and then we've got, empty space in the clubhouse, right, the old admin building. For rent,
Right.
to be able to rent some of that space,
It's a lot of square footage.
right?
that's what we were just talking about.
It's so chopped up,
in the
but
high school.
I don't think too many of those walls are,
I think the upstairs office area has value. I think the downstairs area should be where they put all of our records from the transfer hangar.
yeah.
Where is that?
It's below Agave.
Oh, okay.
So the little cafe's not there anymore?
It is.
No, the cafe is there,
Oh.
but there is another area where the finance office used to be.
What's underneath?
Yeah, oh God, it was like a dungeon.
It is a.
It was a fire hazard too.
Windows there.
No,
No, not, when you keep going, you're in a dungeon.
It's like a
There's a
kid.
window,
Mm.
glass door.
I'm not too sure it's even legal
What level?
because there's no fire escape.
Jim was there.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, what level of renovation would it take to get it?
to upstairs.
Yeah,
I think it would be. We did that, I don't know. I think that if a speculating person, it would be bring in a commercial real estate agent who deals with business rentals, show them the space and say,
Right, what should we do?
what do you think? Who's interested in this? What should we do with it? Get some input from a commercial real estate agent.
sure, yeah.
It would be a great place for a beauty parlor.
Well, they already have a beauty
We
park.
already have.
I know, I'm wondering how happy they are with their location.
I think they're very happy.
I've never been in there,
Christina, go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things,
Coffee shop, good.
Ice cream.
wouldn't El Agave be unhappy if it was a coffee shop?
No.
I've always wanted a Chinese
Like,
takeout
that's
place there. Chinese takeout? How many vote for that? Yes.
So speaking of space, utilization of El Agave, the admin building there, that whole
Yeah.
building. So when we were in Vegas this weekend, we noticed, so there's kind of like, some people just want a cubicle, right? You were talking to some people here that run their business out of Sun Valley.
Yeah.
And some people would want a cubicle to say, like, I don't want to work in my house.
Yeah.
Because they find it very inconvenient and they can't focus or whatever the situation is. And they want their little cubicle. And then what we found at this hotel we were staying at was that they have desks, like 3 or 4 desks, all set up with power, and you set your computer up. And so you can have an option of like being with some other people, maybe if you wanted to, or having it, some people don't mind being around some other people. And other people want their own little space because they want to be a little bit more private. So you could maybe do a combination of both and ask the realtor or whatever, which do you think, we have here? Because
Yeah.
you get charged less if you're like 4 desks in a row, right? Here's your desk, that's all you have, and there's somebody right next to you. Or you can have a cubicle, right, for your private conversations, and that's more.
A lot of places like that have a shared secretary or
You have a service that you can.
Service,
And
uh-huh.
a conference room that you can.
Yeah.
schedule.
But that's an added cost to them. That does not
True,
do with
yeah.
Sun Valley. They can operate that, right?
Mhm.
We don't want to get into hiring people.
No, we wouldn't hire people.
I was thinking that lower level that you wanna put the files in could be converted into that. For spaces,
I think so.
rent out, I mean.
There's 3 offices.
That one room was-
Well, that's how we met,
That's how
Yeah.
we met.
because I
So you want
was,
to take over something like that?
yeah,
You need to take.
You have to go through one to get to the next one, to get to the next one.
No, there's 3.
I can't remember that. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
You should take a look.
Yeah,
yeah,
And you could.
does everyone know?
it's been years since I've been down there.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the things I talked about was maybe figuring out a way to have an assisted living place here in the valley. I mean,
Do we have?
people live here.
We have land?
There's land here, hither and yon. I don't know how much it would take.
You know, there is one place.
Mhm.
All right, so we have 40 acres of area wide. Area wide is the developable, how do you want it, developable 40 acres. I think it is.
Yep.
It is,
Ask any developer.
yeah, I can follow that. Yeah, so the corporation owns a 40-acre parcel at the corner of Lake Whatcom Boulevard and Louise. And it's area wide. And we pay taxes on it. And it is zoned for condos. So we could put another condo association in there or other things. But it is a location that can be built out.
And
Commercial, I don't know, but it is zoned like a building.
it would be, if it's already zoned for condos, then they would be able to deal with a multiple living situation.
Is it right
And
behind the real estate office?
What's that?
Is it right behind the real estate office?
No, it's so go down Lake Rock Boulevard.
Right.
Rick, what is it here on the map?
Is it down here? This, down there, that's area wide.
Wow, it's huge.
Mhm. Isn't, it's all gravelled and the contractors park things there for.
No, it's hilly. There's no road in.
Oh, really?
That big spot is well developed.
But it's like this. Yeah.
So here's
So
Lake
we-
Louise. And here's Sun Valley Boulevard, and Mitch is talking about this area here.
You could even, I mean,
It's not Lake Louise, or is it?
that would really be a really good spot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close to the, you know, the valley services and
Yeah,
possibility,
so, you know.
whether or
now
not
you're looking at, again now, so now you're looking at, okay.
getting somebody
real
else to.
estate, you know. Builders, real estate agent,
Mhm.
we have a parcel. And we're thinking of this. And could you find people who are interested in doing the investment?
And would Sudden Valley be willing to give them a good deal?
We don't know that.
No, I'm saying, this is, you know, I'm saying to get them to come in. Do we want this to be, I look at this as, this is a service to, you know, people move here, they're young, they have families, the families grow up, they go away, they're retired, and then they start having trouble not being able to stay in their house because they need assistance. And we don't have anything like that here in Sun Valley, so people have to move away.
Well, I think, like, if we went out to a realtor and said, look, we have this, how many acres, Mitch? 40 acres available. And these are our top priorities for the usage of it. And you can go out to all these assisted living centers that you know are in the area and see if they're any interested in adding a third, fourth, or fifth location.
Yeah.
Right, but
I mean, it's
if Sudden Valley retains ownership of the land.
Right.
Yes,
in some
yes,
ways,
absolutely.
right?
Oh, yeah,
And
do
then you come in and build your projects, and we're like, look.
100-year lease?
$2,000 a month or whatever, something,
It's long-term leasehold.
right, something very minimal, you can stay there, you invest like 2 or 3 million in your building.
And if they went up a couple of stories, there would be rooms with view of the lake. Like Louise.
When you get your job started.
You gotta remember though, now you have to put an elevator in, right, because we're talking.
You gotta put an elevator in anyway.
For the elevator, the people developing.
So anyways, that's the plan, right, is to reach out through a realtor and say, hey, we got 40 acres, or.
I don't know if it's realtor or if you would go to like these, the developers of these places, that would be it. I
The
don't.
realtor would do that.
I think you go to, it's a commercial realtor.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's what we have.
Show them the clubhouse,
Mhm.
we have that space, we're showing the 40 acres. And say, hey, no, I think Sudden Valley needs to decide what are you gonna do with it, because you're paying taxes on it ad nauseam.
Well, and a nice thing about older people is they wouldn't be as much of a hassle. For
Okay, we got.
Sun Valley.
It's the step though, you know, when you grow up and the kids move away, the
Uh-huh.
problem is sometimes they multiply and move home.
Well, then you let them have the house and you move out.
That's when you move out on that one day.
Let's say what I look at is we got like 8 of us. And we got a lot of good ideas here. I think we maybe pick 4 ideas and put 2 people on each and see how many information that you can get. But you can add.
I got one
something
more, yeah. We need a third common garden,
A third what?
else.
common
Is there-
garden.
Is that revenue? Is that revenue?
No, not necessarily,
Talk about.
but it's service and you,
That's.
so you want revenue, okay.
We want revenue, sorry.
So narrow-minded,
Oh, yeah.
just money,
So-
money, money.
We'll have a farmer's market.
So I'm thinking we make.
Yeah.
I like your idea about assisted living. I think that should be. Some research to be done on that. It doesn't have to be exact at all, but get started. I think,
The coffee thing is a good idea too.
copies there, yes, was generating money. I'm all about it.
Hmm.
I think the solar idea on the airport is a great idea.
Parking.
And the parking is huge and that's pretty relevant. So that's like 4 right there. We got solar, we got coffee, we got parking, and we got assisted living location on 40 acres. Why is there? We have 8 of us and 2 of each to work on this for a month till we meet again. Is that?
Sounds like a really good idea. I like that idea.
So I think somebody should be on something that they like to do, if there's any preference.
Parking thing with you, Mitch, if you want.
I think Mitch should work on the solar. I'm gonna work on the solar.
Yeah, I don't wanna work on solar with. I don't wanna work with you anyways.
I'll work up the solar. Yeah, I mean, we already got solar.
I'll do parking.
Okay,
Parking. Okay,
the parking, Chad and Ken?
Yep.
Okay, parking, Chad
Great soul chat. For a partner.
and. Okay, I got assisted living and we got coffee.
I think you should actually take the assisted living thing.
I can work on that too.
Nah, we got 1 month.
Well,
She
okay.
can definitely do it.
She wants
I've
to
seen
get-
her in action.
Okay.
Okay, assisted living.
Yeah, I'm jumping to book club.
Who's the closest to assisted? That's the
I just got out of one.
She just gave it for 2
It's a very well obvious choice.
I'd work with you on that, if there's nobody else.
You ever work on solar or anything like that?
No, I drank coffee though.
What's that?
Coffee? Yeah, coffee. It's in coffee. If you want coffee, put it on.
Okay, who wants to work solar?
I'll do solar.
Rick, you want to do solar with me? All right.
Oh, does she? Yeah.
Just saying.
Yes, I want to be mainline.
And her rent's already covered,
Mm,
right?
yeah. Oh, in her place.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, so it's a plus.
Yeah.
I'm just
So you're
saying,
talking about Christine?
well, it's just, when you look at a business. And you say, look, all my rent's already covered. All my expenses are covered and I want to just do this plus thing,
You should talk to Christine without
Right.
talking for her.
Yeah.
that's one thing. And if you want to go and say, okay, let's do this location. And then you gotta spend 10 grand to set up. And you gotta spend $1,000 a month for rent and everything like that, and you're like, oh shit, I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
Right, that's a totally different situation.
Yeah.
Rick and Al can solar. Yeah.
Who's
that to do coffee with April?
I can do coffee with April.
Are you doing 3?
Hmm?
Are you doing 3 different ones?
We booted her off the solar.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay, yeah.
You ready? You're on solar?
Rick and I got
You
solar.
solar? Okay, Rick's got nothing, okay.
They still- Yeah.
Solar.
Okay, so we got Mitch and Rick, okay? Assisted living,
Volunteer for coffee.
assisted living,
Oh.
Elizabeth and myself,
Okay, yeah. You
okay?
wanna be involved with the assisted living thing?
Mm-mm. I'm just,
We're trying to get.
I'm here specifically for
What you
my
want.
interest and experience in the barn usages
Oh,
and
okay,
planning.
yeah,
Well, that's off the table for about a month and a half, 2 months.
Well, it's actually, in my experience, it's really not.
Okay.
So that's why I want to find out who's the touch point person on that project, so I can catch up on where it all is, what's been done and stuff, so.
You got updated right here, but that's it. You got all the latest.
Okay, because I've got very specific questions, so,
Well, we're not on
But I
that
didn't-
now.
right.
We're on coffee.
Yeah.
We got.
You're a committee of one, but
No,
there's only
exactly.
one.
No.
You don't have
I can work with her, yeah, I've got a bunch of, you know,
We got the Elizabeth.
Yeah.
So April and Elizabeth are on coffee. Chad and Ken are on parking, Elizabeth and Ray are on assisted living, and Mitch and Rick are
Solar.
on solar.
Yeah.
Okay,
the
so
tricky,
how you guys address this
the tricky.
and how you go about it
Getting it far.
is up, you need some guidance or you wanna talk to somebody, I mean, I'll try to help get you some research to do that. Mitch here
We
is
need to
also a
get
very
somebody
good source, who might help.
Some
also.
traffic department, I think, or they may have numbers already, so we'll
You're gonna be
see.
busy. You and me are gonna be busy. Just so you know.
Yeah,
And you're doing coffee too.
yeah,
Okay, but you're just back, so you're ready to work.
well, yeah, I mean, you know, the garden is, the garden club is going to fizzle out this year probably unless I can come up with a couple $1,000. And I can't figure out how to do that, so I might as well,
So you need a
Ship.
fundraising pick for the garden club, for the ladies garden club, or raising the vegetable garden, another vegetable garden?
the vegetable gardens typically support themselves as long as you give them land.
So you're trying to do another, ladies garden club?
No,
No,
common garden.
what is that?
That's where everybody has a little plot and they grow their own stuff.
It doesn't bring any, but it's a
No.
big thing.
So,
Pay for that.
so what committee?
Yeah, they
People
usually pony up $10 a month, I think it is.
They won't pay for that, right?
So I just joined Garden Club Z, because there's a waiting list 3 years, but I guess they're expanding it. So
Okay, are they?
it's
Yeah.
gonna be double in size, so the 3-year waiting list is.
Is that the one over by Z? Yeah, that's partly because of Mitch.
Did they trust
Thank you. It used to be
No.
toxic and he got it fixed. So they can dig at the ground now.
Yeah, but let me tell you, getting this other one set up was like, I was sure I was gonna get a couple of black eyes and a bunch of different people. So I got Gail to step up and say, I'll be the president. Oh, thank God,
Mhm.
you know. Get that monkey off my back, but taking that land away from Brian Kulak was like, you know, you think I just called.
I know, yeah.
Parentage into question.
But a garden club situation, people don't have access to space to grow a garden.
Yeah, that's,
what
the garden club is entirely separate.
No, sorry, I'm asking a question. When you're want to be part of a garden club, you don't just expect to have X number of space for free,
No,
right? So it is a revenue producing.
Is they charging you for this?
I'm on the waiting list still, so, but I don't think it's much.
You think it's free?
Community garden.
Yeah.
Vegetable garden.
yeah,
Yeah,
It's a.
It's not free, I think they do raise,
small.
yeah.
they do raise some money so they can buy fertilizer and stuff.
It's a paper.
It doesn't go into the general fund.
Oh, there is self-maintained.
There are,
Yeah.
there is plenty of other space in this. We have 21 named parks and half of them are now.
Yeah. And all we need is
Well,
one
it's
son.
a private order on
Yeah,
the,
Right.
what we said before us
The
here.
meeting.
We're looking for revenue stuff. We've got, Rick, you got who's doing what?
I do. I have-
Could you say what you
I
have?
have April and Elizabeth for copy. I
Yeah,
have Mitch and I on solar. I have Chad and Ken on cooking.
Yep.
And Elizabeth and Ray on the assistant.
perfect. So what we're looking for is however you go about getting that information as much as you can, you can get contacts, you can get Doesn't have to be, nobody signing contracts, we just gather information. About coffee, assisted living, developers, solar,
Counting.
what contractors could do it. You know, just so we got a starting point, and then we'll zoom in on it more. And we'll try to just really, you guys are gonna meet in yourselves. And then our next meeting will be June 5th at 6:30 PM in the same room. And we'll discuss those.
Same side channel.
Yep, pretty easy.
Can we brainstorm to help? Give some, raise some issues or questions or ideas about how to help guide some of each of the committees?
Absolutely.
I think that would be helpful for all of us.
That's great.
To maybe add a little bit before we send everybody off with marching orders.
Sure, I'm open for
I
that.
think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I had a question, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
So my question was, if Chad and I are on the parking committee, and, you know, obviously the marina is gonna be a major focus because we're always, is there any other areas that we're not aware of?
Oh, AM, PM.
I think AM, PM, you got.
Oh, right, so that's even, so that's important to know, right? Oh, thank you, right?
And so once you start blocking off, think about, okay, access into the, to the library. You're not gonna charge non-residents to park over at the library.
No, you can't do that.
That would be a little dicey,
No,
right?
you're only at AM, PM, beach and
So,
marina.
you know, you have to think about.
Those are the main two areas.
Think about access control, do a search, do web searches on HOA parking policies. Right. You're gonna be surprised, don't reinvent the wheel.
Right,
It's already done for you.
And I.
okay, thank you.
And they pay for the disc golf, right? The parking there. People already pay if you're not a Sudden Valley.
No,
Well, that's what the costs are doing.
for the disc golf.
Disc golf.
Yeah, so we went down there, they have to be members of the disc golf.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, but Sudden Valley people
We
don't pay,
don't.
we don't pay for park, we park.
So parking for golf is not an issue, right?
No.
That's what,
No, that's
golf was after that, kind of,
And
There's another there.
That's public access as well, that's like the library.
right, and that's.
What about enforcement?
Part of your fees that you pay.
Like the lowest.
Are you gonna have a gate?
Cost way to do it.
They're working on it, they're working on it.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Yeah, like- Sorry.
That's
Of
good.
course,
How
right?
could they,
You don't wanna have any.
Right.
see how they could have a gate.
Staff,
Right.
we don't want staff.
The only staff would be enforcement or compliance with.
Is that what you pay through the app?
I don't even think you need, like, I mean.
That wouldn't work
obviously, we put
well,
in
would it?
Sun Valley Views that we have a-
They've talked about that before, it never worked.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
sign up.
I would,
You getting the information that you need?
Oh, shit.
We're good.
Good.
I volunteered to buy a tow truck and put some.
I have- I don't know what my cell phone number is.
Either best.
Get
my chalk out.
It's a way to get money. Start to.
Absolutely, and a way to have people that aren't gonna obey the rules. Out to.
Yeah.
Okay, well, those are some very good input, so thanks for bringing that up again.
April, Elizabeth, you guys want to ask some questions about coffee some more before you do some reports?
There's people that put the lines down on the road to count traffic.
Yeah, I think.
That'll be the first thing, we get some numbers. And I think we can probably go to the county. Why is this talking?
Hold on, so, now you're talking about, representing Sudden Valley, go to the general manager. Tell him what you're doing, ask him to go to the county and get permission to put the counter up.
Well, we may not have to put the counter up, they may have the numbers already, because they put counters up ever so often.
If
Mhm.
they've got the numbers, great.
Right, yeah, no way could we do that, yeah,
Yeah, don't spend money.
no more than I have, which is
Okay.
0 these days, yeah.
We're just researching information.
The only thing I can suggest to you from a business point of view is rather than start from zero, start with something you already have. Right, start from scratch and you'll have guaranteed a higher success rate. And what we already have is we already have somebody that wants to do it, already paying rent, already profitable, and wants to have a coffee shop. So just look at that maybe.
Yeah.
Also, we have to figure out how much it costs to knock the building down,
What building you knocking down?
the campground office. The campground office,
For the
we
other
would have to knock it down.
That costs money to knock stuff down. We're talking revenue. Gonna do, we're knocking.
Wonder if the fire department would like to have a little test.
Well, I haven't
You might-
done that part.
I know, they'd like to do that, don't they?
They did, I let them, destroy the rotunda.
Is that what happened to it? I didn't think much.
And have fun and games before we find.
There you go.
Or we could have fake shoot ups with the police department.
We did that at the house right on, the box.
Mhm.
Now it's a beautiful home.
Yeah. It's amazing what you can get if you really look.
Mitch and Rick, you guys had any questions on solar?
Would you do me a favor? Would you call that number?
That's like so close.
Elizabeth,
Give me a second. Or, okay, go ahead.
I'm wondering if you had any, wanted to ask anybody here any questions about what you and I are gonna do with assisted living developers.
I figured, I didn't. Okay, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that.
There you go. Perfect.
I don't know my cell phone number. What can I tell you?
You don't know yourself?
Thank you. No, don't know my cell phone number.
So we'll get together, we'll try some stuff
Call
out.
you in.
I figured I'd just start with large companies that have that assisted living places, you know?
We'll work together.
huh?
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
that too. Okay. Is any other things we need to bring up regarding this?
I'm happy.
Pretty good.
That's great.
Okay, we will adjourn this meeting at 7:37 on May 1st. Thank you guys for showing up.